On this week's show, we'll be discussing everything revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase, everything revealed at Summer Games Fest, plus we might have time to fit some other stuff in, but a lot of games to talk about.
So many games.
All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to the GamerGuild podcast, your weekly show where we round up all the week's video game news and stories right here for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuild TV and up there in your digital clouds on your podcast preference of choice. Join me this week is Mr. Chris. How are you?
I'm ecstatic, Richie. What a weekend of video game news we've just had. I feel like my year has just gone from, there's a couple of things I want to play to, oh my word, where am I going to find the time? That was an epic two showcases we just seen.
Yeah.
One substantially better than the other, but we'll get into that as part of it. So yeah, I'm good. Hello, everyone.
That, yeah.
Hello.
To be honest, we are recording this pretty much about 5 minutes after we cancelled the live stream for the Xbox Showcase. So some details may be missing because literally articles are not out yet for us to reference.
Yeah, I haven't even changed the lighting behind me.
Yeah, that's how.
That's how soon
we're just going into this as fresh as we possibly can. Probably explains the quite hype energy because
I've had 3 drinks as well, so I'm good. I'm vibing.
Yeah, I've had a couple of Pepsis.
Ooh, you'll be feeling that sugar.
You know what? Before we get into it, we do have a great show lined up for you, but don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell icon so you're kept in the loop of all the amazing content here at GamerGuild TV, such as, Chris, Uncharted Golden Abyss. Done?
Yes, finished, complete. Of course, our guild heroes, they get it early, up to a week early, in fact. I'm going to start dropping the episodes every Tuesday. So we'll probably return to our normal scheduled live streams on a Thursday or a Friday. So we don't want it to clash with that. So you'll actually be getting this week's episode a couple of days early. But again, our Guild Heroes, you get up to a week early. So yes, my entire playthrough of Uncharted Golden Abyss, the PlayStation Vita exclusive, finished now, up and available, and I'll be feeding them out. And I do have a full 8.5 hour stream that'll go up in one block video at the very end of it all as well. So if you don't want to watch it piecemeal, patience, hold fire. There'll be a full 8.5 hour full day stream. You could sit down at the beginning of the day with your cup of tea and watch it all the way through till tea time. But finished, done, loved it. Can't wait to get into something new now, which it sounds like we've got a lot to get into. So
yeah, we've got a lot to get into. So I won't dwell too long on housekeeping. As you mentioned, weekly live streams. We didn't have one last week because of Summer Games Fest on the Friday and the Xbox Showcase on the Sunday. So if you want to see our full takes on them as it happens, all that is still on the YouTube channel. You can go back and watch. There's a Ubisoft Forward that goes live today if you're watching this on Monday when the show comes out, but we will not be covering that because of other commitments. No doubt we'll be in the Discord talking to all the great folks in there with it. Links are in the description below. Very briefly before we get into it, Chris, been playing anything interesting?
Yes, so off the back of the Summer Game Fest news, we got a stealth drop of a certain game, but I'll hold my thoughts until we get to it. So I've been playing some DLC for a big AAA game that stealth dropped on Friday, or Saturday night, I guess, which we'll get into. But other than that, bit of FIFA / EA Sports FC as usual. And I'm really just waiting for the back half of the year to explode, which it's ready to. So I'm going to bide my time until summer has passed. And let's get into it. How about yourself?
Yeah, finished Assassin's Creed 2. I do need to go and do some trophy hunting, but I've switched over. My main game at the moment is surprisingly become South Park Stick of Truth.
Stick of Truth?
Out of nowhere.
That's insane.
But you know what? As much as it is talking about games is great, we've got a lot of games to get into. So Chris, would you like to introduce us to
the graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, aka the Showcase News?
The Showcase News. And as always, the news is brought to you by our Guild Heroes, which you can join for as little as 99p. And Chris, we had someone drop during the live stream the Xbox One 5 gifted
Memberships.
subs,
We
5
did.
memberships. From a little 99p gives you early access to this very show and early access to Chris's Golden Abyss playthrough and our internal love.
Yeah, you would have got this early, but
Yeah.
we're recording it late. We got Ansel Brahim join. We got Redmond Smokehouse, CGD Games. That's, of course, our wonderful friend Lee. Krinigar Games and Lou all joined us as well. Thanks to the gifted membership subs in the chat. It's all fantastic stuff.
Thank you very much.
It was Brenton K who donated.
You're an absolute hero. Let's get into it, Chris. Xbox Showcase. We'll start where we've just come off. Before overall impressions of the showcase before we start breaking down the individual games.
Oh, very, very impressed. Going into it, I think we knew Xbox's slate of games was going to be stacked just because they have 30 plus studios now, and a lot of them have been cooking for quite some time. And I feel like we have been like a broken record saying it's going to be Xbox's year soon. It's going to be. And then Starfield kind of should have been the beginning of that. But then the beginning of this year has been a little bit more subdued. Obviously, some closures and layoffs and stuff across Microsoft and the gaming division as a whole. The recent news of Tango Gameworks, amongst other things. It's been a bit hit or miss still. And we all were waiting for that moment where they begin to fire on all cylinders. And I think this showcase really did highlight to you, me, and probably the wider audience. Obviously, we haven't had time to go away and see what the internet thinks, see what other influencers and gaming content creator circles think. But off the top of my head, I would say that was a pretty banging 10 out of 10 showcase. I don't think they could have done anything more or real differently to make it any better.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment entirely. We've been saying for a while, it feels like I went in with a slight bit of trepidation because we know how much Xbox have got in the works. Mm-hmm. But the last few showcases we've had the same thought, they've got so much to show what they're doing, and then you come out and go, it was a solid 7. That was a straight 10 and an easy 10 as well. There was so much. I mean, the first 5 titles alone, I think, would make a solid showcase. And that's Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Doom the Dark Ages, State of Decay 3, Dragon Age Veilguard, and Starfield Shattered Space. It's like bang, 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 bang. It's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. If you think of like the condition of we had the PlayStation State of Play, which was quite underwhelming the other week, bar Monster Hunter Wilds and the Astrobot announcement. If this was just a half an hour presentation with those games you just listed, that would have beat that one out hands down. Summer Game Fest, I think, did suffer for it because Xbox obviously kept probably a lot of announcements to close to their own chest for this reveal, which in turn, unfortunately, Jeff lost out on. But you know what? If you're Xbox, you're doing Xbox things, and now they've got ABK in-house as well. This was the first showcase they were able to, I think maybe in the past when there would have been gaps, they were able to put in banging Blizzard games, banging Activision games, and just really go like flex their muscles.
I think this is a 10 even without Activision Blizzard.
Yeah. I mean, for us it is, because we tend not to play their games.
Yeah, I mean, Activision Blizzard, you've got Call of Duty, there's World of Warcraft and Diablo 4.
Not bad titles.
Not bad titles, but that's a small section of the showcase.
Yeah.
So I really think this might be one of the best showcases I've seen in a long time. The pacing was really quite high as well.
Yeah, it
nothing
didn't end.
Nothing felt like overstayed its welcome. There was a lot of gameplay stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dates. Some of them was just 2024 or 2025, but we did get some actual dates and stuff. So, overall showcase 10 out of 10. Where do we begin? What game do we want to start with?
I think
do we start with Call of Duty?
I think for our audience sake, we should point out that we won't be going in detail into everything because we're going to get lots of news over the course of the rest of the year that'll break it down. We also don't want this podcast to run for 3 odd hours because it's a long time. But in terms of that, I think we pick out some of the big ones. We'll work our way through them and just kind of see if we can just nail down the details that crept out from them, like launch dates, any major features or any announcements. Sorry. Game Pass seems to be a given. I think we joked through the live stream that more stuff is coming to Game Pass than wasn't. So if we don't say otherwise,
there was a few things that weren't, but most of the stuff was.
Yeah, absolutely. So Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We knew it was going to be a big part of it, but we got a date, Richie.
We did. October the 25th. Call of Duty will become day and date to Xbox Game Pass, PC, and PlayStation, but specifically the thing that turned my head, definitely that Game Pass thing, because I'm a lapsed Call of Duty fan.
Mm-hmm.
When they started doubling down too much on the multiplayer and let the single player fall off a bit, I lost interest. I got a bit of fatigue in the games, and then there wasn't enough content that I wanted to play in the games to warrant the price tag. But with it coming to Game Pass, it's like, I'm probably playing this game.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I've got so much love for Call of Duty, but it was definitely of an era in my life. And because of the lack of campaign, it was actually Black Ops was the first game to ditch the campaign. I think Black Ops 4, I think it was, or maybe 3, that they couldn't get around to it. Zombies was always my favourite mode, away from the standard game as well. And of course, now with Warzone kind of prepping up the year all round, it's almost like the yearly entries, they need the campaign to make them stand out, because Warzone's ever present. It's just a live service version of Call of Duty, and Call of Duty Mobile, we should say as well. So to return to Black Ops with Zombies, we should also point out we didn't actually watch the Call of Duty Direct that followed it, because we were expecting more Call of Duty. So if there's more news that's came out since, I mean, we only stopped watching the showcase like just over half an hour ago, and we're into this podcast. So if anything did come out from the Direct, that was maybe like, whoa, I can't believe you guys didn't cover it on the show. There's a reason for it. We apologise. But in terms of Call of Duty, like you said, Game Pass day one, huge get.
Absolutely. It's probably the biggest get in gaming.
And the fact that the Game Pass, day one Game Pass stuff kind of leaked early is a bit of a disappointment in a way, because I feel like that would have got such a huge pop of that announcement being part of the showcase, but we've knew about it for about a fortnight now. But that doesn't take away from how epic and, I mean, I guess free for us it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It's like, because the quality for Call of Duty games has always been there. For me, it was just, as a just general lapsed multiplayer fan, as that became double down the focus of Call of Duty, I was just like, it's no longer what I want from a game. And as I said, it always came down to price things. Like the campaigns aren't long enough to warrant the price, but I still do like a good first-person shooter from time to time.
Absolutely. And surprisingly, we didn't get anything to do with the rest of the back catalogue, which we all anticipated, didn't we?
That could be in the Call of Duty Direct, though, because they were
true.
looking at Raven, they were looking at, was a Treyarch behind the scenes stuff. That's true. So again, to reiterate, we don't know the full details of what happened in that at the time of recording.
Yeah,
but I'm sure someone is breaking it down in our Discord server, which is one of the functions of our Discord server.
Probably, yeah. So yeah, that was the big opening. Phil Spencer stood on stage, swinging his big Microsoft junk around, going like, look who we've acquired, look what's coming. And then Richie, he introduced us to Doom Guy.
Yeah. Doom the Dark Ages coming in 2025 to Game Pass, day and date, but it's also coming to PlayStation 5.
Yeah, nice little nugget we caught, thankfully, after the stream is, they announced on other official channels that, it's coming to PS5 as well, which I think Doom was always one of the ones we predicted would be. So it was nice to see it confirmed.
Yeah, because obviously Doom's got a long history of being on PlayStation in the past as well. This game wasn't what I actually expected, because the name was leaked before. So when it said Doom the Dark Ages, I was thinking, oh, is this going to be more of a medieval style game?
I mean, it visually it looks more medieval than like sci-fi than previous entries.
But there's still sci-fi, a lot of sci-fi elements. I was thinking, what would happen if like a portal to hell opened during the Dark Ages era of Europe, and kind of thing. So like we're talking swords and shields.
I mean, he does have
a shield,
chainsaw shield, which looks epic.
Yeah,
some really cool takedowns from that. He's got chainmail.
Yeah.
So it's getting there. We thought this was called, I think, it was the NVIDIA leaks a couple of years back where it was listed as Doom Year Zero.
Year Zero.
So it's possibly that. But from the gameplay we saw, mod Doom, just frenetic chaos, killing all sorts of monsters, but visually looked great. I did suspect, I think, from the trailer, it kind of looks like it's a bit more open world than we've traditionally got as well. It looks like the traversal isn't, I think because you're not necessarily on a spaceship, it's not as siloed of like corridors and rooms. It very much looks like vast open expanses to explore.
I don't know how big they will be, because Doom has always had some open areas built into the levels.
I'd like to see them do something a little different though, like semi-open world.
I don't think it'd be. I would be surprised if it's full open world.
I mean, there's a scene in the trailer where he's flying a dragon over the tops of like cathedrals and stuff. That looks very open world, and he has a mech suit, which again, if you talk about what can we do to Doom to make it cooler, put him in a mech suit, let him fly a dragon. Why not?
But yeah, the gameplay of Doom is largely being about space is important because it's not a cover shooter. You are on the move always, so you need space is important.
Yeah.
It's just one of the hallmarks of like what with Doom was it 2016 when they kind of basically rebooted it, that kind of nailed the feel of Doom again.
Yeah,
because you just had that constant moving, everything was fast paced. This does look like that. This looks like the next game in the Doom franchise and looks awesome.
Yeah, what a showcase! Just to start off with, like you said at the beginning, that was just the beginning, which is mad.
Yeah.
What else did we get? Yeah, we're going to hit that a lot. It's almost like the government.
Yeah, we're going to go through at these quieter pace so it doesn't blow.
Next slide, please, Richie.
Next slide would be State of Decay 3. It's set years after the zombie apocalypse, following upon State of Decay 2, so it's a direct sequel.
Mm-hmm.
We got a trailer, State of Decay 2. I think the game was initially announced in 2020. We've got a trailer. We don't have a date.
No, do we have a year?
We don't.
Nah. No, I mean, no surprise. I think State of Decay wasn't that long ago, all things said and done, in comparison to how long game development is now. Yeah, we enjoyed what we played State of Decay 2. It was one of the first live streams we did on the channel, actually, when we both got our Xboxes for the first time. And I think seemingly what this trailer showcased, it was a CGI trailer, so don't read too much into it yet. But from those who've played State of Decay before, you'll know what the gameplay is pretty much like. And I'm hoping they maybe elevate it a little bit. The base building mechanics was always fun. The scavenging for your ammo and your fuel and stuff was always good. And the cooperative element to it was fun. I'm thinking, like, how can they take that and what really merits a third entry in the series if it's just more of the same? So I'm hoping, other than just visuals, I'm hoping they can like kind of raise it and make it a little bit more dynamic or different. And you would hope the devs have got plans to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. But was this the first kind of formal trailer we've ever seen of it?
I think,
everyone's been known that for years that they're making a State of Decay 3, but I don't think it's ever been anyone's formally went, yes, we're making State of Decay 3.
In my brain, I feel like we've seen some really short snippet of like, for all intents and purposes, like a bloater, like a big monster thing, and then the logo splashed up. So I feel like we've had a really short tease somewhere. But this was the first like full-length look at cinematics, I guess, what it would look like. And it does look a lot cleaner than 2 already, which I'm guessing they've moved on their engine a little bit. But yeah, again, this is part of thinking of the showcase as a whole, the games we've gotten, the kind of merry-go-round of titles coming to Xbox. You can almost see why Game Pass is going to get some huge titles, almost like every quarter is the cadence that we're talking about. But looking at what we saw today, like, it's no surprise we don't get one like every month at this rate.
There's a lot. I haven't counted, but I suspect there's maybe 5 to 10, 20, 24 games in the list.
Yeah.
We don't have that many months left.
No, six months and counting. And that's not including third-party, PlayStation, Switch, anything like that. So yeah, State of Decay 3.
Yeah, nice to see it. But yeah, this is I suspect it's going to be 2026 at the earliest.
Yeah, I think we spoke about during the live show, but the type of game State of Decay is you don't really want to launch it in peak season, like September into winter. I feel like it would do it a disservice if you dropped it at such a busy time of the year. So I would spitball like a March, April, May early year release so people can get into it. It would probably do really well around Halloween, but I feel like it gets mixed up in all the other horror specific titles that do come out around then. So yeah, I think State of Decay 3 maybe 2026 early spring.
State of Decay 3 would have been, I think, good last year when Xbox had a bit of a dearth of content.
Mm-hmm.
That it could have been a nice. It's not the strongest year, but at least we did get State of Decay, we did get Starfield at the end. It could have been a nice thing to have in, but we'll see what happens with it going forward. Let's move swiftly on to the next game that's had a name change, and we finally got to see more after a while. Not an Xbox exclusive, Dragon Age Veilguard.
Yeah, this was in our news doc actually before the showcase because of the name change. It came out from Twitter. I think BioWare tweeted out saying we're going to do that, and they had a little post about the reasons why. And Dreadwolf, of course, the previous name was specific to the story, but during obviously the game's gone through a lot of years of development. BioWare have been crafting a way to try and get back onto a winning streak as such, and they've got Dragon Age before Mass Effect in their timeline. So yeah, I mean, I do personally think Dreadwolf was a much cooler name than Veilguard. Veilguard's not terrible for all intents and purposes, and I don't really know the lore behind the names, so
I think with no context, I think Dreadwolf is a better title. With context, I hated Solus. Like, I just didn't like the character. Not in the kind of way of you go, oh, you might have hated Darth Vader back when you first watched Star Wars, but he is a good character. I just didn't like Solus. I just didn't like the character. I hated when he was on screen. Just like, get this guy away from me.
I don't know.
Like, I do not want him in. He was like, he's the guy. He is the Dreadwolf.
And what is a Dreadwolf? Is it like a class?
He's in like an ancient elf kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Solus and Dragon Age Inquisition was only party members.
Right.
And I just hated him. Just didn't like using him. Didn't like him any of his story. Just not for me. So I'm hoping the change of name reflects that they're moving away from him being the focal point.
Yeah, in BioWare's description, I think midweek, they did say like that's why they've changed the name, because it's about 6 different characters and they don't want to focus on just one title for those reasons you've just laid out there. As someone who's not played a Dragon Age game, the art style in this one, I mentioned it during the live stream, it looked a lot more cartoony than I was expecting. There is a gameplay premiere coming on the 11th, so this week, so look out for that soon. But I put it to you and said, like, in my mind, this is what Dragon Age looks like. It goes for more realistic graphics, whereas this is maybe closer to Sea of Thieves. How do you feel about that?
Wasn't quite there.
No, not quite, but it's leaning more towards Sea of Thieves than The Witcher, for example, is like a 1-for-1, which I thought Dragon Age was more like a Witcher.
They haven't went full Fortnite, but they have took a step in that direction, and Dragon Age has actually had a different art style for every single game so far.
Oh, okay, so there's a cadence.
Origins was hyper realistic.
Right.
2 went quite anime.
Okay.
With its action.
All right.
Not full anime in terms of the art style, but in terms of the animation style. Like, it was quite over the top.
Yeah.
Inquisition was almost like a half step back, a bit more realistic. This is the cartooniest I've seen Dragon Age. I'm not fond of the decision, but I don't think it's a deal breaker just yet. I'll sit with it. Might be. It's one of them things where I think if the narrative is good, the gameplay is good. Half an hour in, you forget about what the visuals are.
Yeah,
it could be. But I kind of wish they went. I kind of wish they went the other way and doubled down on the more realistic tone, because that's one of the things I loved about Origins.
Right.
It did have a very gritty, grounded, realistic feel to the game.
Okay.
Obviously, you're casting fireballs and shit, but
yeah,
you know what I mean.
So I mean, the great thing is you only have to wait until tomorrow for gameplay reveal. So hopefully, maybe that might just be the cinematic direction. The actual gameplay looks a little bit more grounded and realistic. But hey, check out BioWare's channel tomorrow, and I'm probably sure all other gaming sites, and you'll see a bit more of a deeper dive. So already, Richie, just a few minutes into the show, we got just banger after banger after banger, and then we kind of went into a bit of an update for some live service things, which we don't have to spend too long on, but feel free to gloss over a couple. Yeah,
we'll blast through these quick. Starfield Shattered Space, it's coming 2024. We didn't get a release date, and at the best of my knowledge, as it stands, Shattered Space isn't coming to Game Pass, so you'll have to purchase it separately.
Yep, we discussed that during the live show, which makes sense, right? Like, Game Pass is you're getting the base game, so you're saving £70 as is. If you want to keep playing the game beyond that, then yeah, no prices on it. But it seems like this is the first big thing for Starfield. That you've got a lot in the free patches they put out. They've remedied a lot of issues and gripes that you and me personally had with it, in terms of like maps and other little intricate things. So they've already been remedied in free patches, so that's resolved. This is the next big story expansion. So it looks like they're going with like a quirky, ethereal threat out in space, and there's going to be some solid storyline to go along with that. So if you're a Starfield fan, as you've said, Rich, I think this is a game that people are going to go back to year in, year out for probably a decade plus now.
Yeah, I think this could be what was it? Phantom Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for Cyberpunk, how that kind of behind the scenes CG Project Red did a lot of patches, a lot of updates to Cyberpunk to get up to standard. Then Phantom Liberty went, oh, we're basically a soft relaunch.
Yeah, and it worked.
I don't think Starfield, was criticized anywhere near Cyberpunk.
No.
It definitely was nowhere near as broken. But this could almost feel like a bit of a soft relaunch with with all the patches and updates and stuff, giving you like a proper map system and things.
And it's a cool name.
It is.
Shattered Space is pretty damn cool.
Space,
and the logo looks sick as well. So, I don't think I'll personally be going back to it unless, which we did think, I think if you paid for the early access, like the £30 or whatever it was at launch to play it early, you might have got something included. So I might have to go back and check my receipts to see if I actually do have access to Shattered Space.
I didn't. I just played it on Game Pass. Moving quickly on, won't dwell on this. Fallout 76. You knew there was going to be something Fallout with the success of the show.
Yeah.
There's kind of two announcements to this. The smaller one was in 2025 we get to play as Ghoul from the Fallout TV show.
Was it specifically Ghoul or was it just a Ghoul?
But I took it as play as Ghoul, but it could be play as a Ghoul. I'm not sure. But it's 2025, that'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, they were always going to do something to do with Fallout, right? The success of the show, even if they just put together like a splash screen and went, season this. But again, 76 is a live service game, so they're always going to have something in the works. You would hope for maybe like every half a year there's some kind of content drop just to keep it ticking over.
You know what makes more sense for it to be play as a Ghoul rather than play as Ghoul? Because you play as your own character.
Early 2025. I'm looking at the trailer now, yeah.
But I wonder if it'd be interesting to see how they implement it. It could be how like the Elder Scrolls has always implemented things like vampires and werewolves, where you basically catch a disease to become one.
Yeah.
And they do actually build cures into the game, so you can unbecome one. That might be an interesting way to do the goals.
And we should also point out Skyline Valley, which is the title for that expansion, coming out this week. Because the date conventions look like the 6th of December. It's actually 12th of June, which is this week. So
12th of June, you'll get Skyline Valley, which is a completely new area. I think it's the first full map expansion of Fallout 76.
Yeah. It was Vault 63, if I recall.
Vault 63, there's a vault in it.
Of course there is.
Yeah, well, there's got to be. You can't have a Fallout game without a vault. Let's move on to Expedition 33. Claire, Obscure. Expedition 33.
Yeah, it should have just called it Expedition 33.
That's what I originally wrote it down.
Didn't need the extra bit on, but
yeah. Very interesting in this game. It looks like it's set in France.
Oh, 100%. That's Eiffel Tower Triumph.
Absolutely. But the Eiffel Tower is kind of twisted in the start. The Arc de Triomphe has been snapped in half. So it looks quite post-apocalyptic. Gameplay-wise, it looks kind of Final Fantasy, a modern Final Fantasy, where you've got that combination of action and turn-based.
Yeah, this one caught us off guard because we didn't really know what it was, but the concept for those who haven't seen the trailer is there's this kind of like ethereal god who writes a big number on the side of... is it on the side of the Eiffel Tower? I can't remember. On the side of something, and every time they write a number, anyone who is that age of number just eradicates from the earth, Thanos glitch style. So in the trailer, she writes down 33, and then everyone who's 33 years old just disappears. And it looks like you're on a mission to basically kill this god, stop the world from splitting into whatever chaos this god's creating. And you have a cast of characters, and as Richie said, it looks like some kind of cool Final Fantasy RPG set in some warped version of Paris, fighting some crazy gods. And the reckon looked beautiful. Gameplay looked fun, frenetic. And I said a little bit, this almost reminded me of... It could be like almost like Xbox's version of Stellar Blade.
Yeah, the reason I think it's almost like half turn-based, half action is on the left-hand side of the screen, it looks almost like a turn counter. Like you're seeing some like Final Fantasies or turn-based RPGs where you can look at the list and go, oh, you know whose turn's next.
Yeah.
But I think it looks really cool. It's coming to Game Pass in 2025.
Yeah. which is another great get. But yeah, it just looked, again, I think the whole kind of showcase when we were watching it throughout, it just looked stunning. Like everything we saw had some kind of artistic intrigue to it. But yeah, Expedition 33. I refuse to say Claire Obscure before. It's like,
it's just going to be Expedition
They're
33.
saying it like I should know or care who that character is. And I think you can maybe do that later down the line. But just why I never liked Alan Wake as a name, because it doesn't really tell you what the thing's about.
Until you've played Alan Wake, then you know.
Yeah, then you
know. Let's keep moving on that.
We have to.
We have 2 showcases to get through.
Yeah. Summer Game Fest is going to get shafted in this show.
Yeah, it really is. It wasn't as good as this, so I'd rather focus on the games I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
South of Midnight, Chris.
Beavers.
Would you like a beaver? It's a beaver simulator.
It's not that kind of podcast, but yeah.
No. Compulsion
Games.
Yeah.
The Deep South.
Yeah. I thought this looked cool. It's kind of got that kind of Into Spider-Verse kind of like animation with a lot of the frame drops. But then when the trailer switches between cutscenes and gameplay, the gameplay looks nice and smooth and slick, but keeps the kind of aesthetic going. So it looks like it's really cool. Had a lot of charm and character to this.
It really did. It really did. And again, set in like the deep south and the probably Louisiana Bayou or somewhere like that. Like the protagonist riding a catfish, having banter back and forward between a giant catfish, talking about a crocodile. And what I was really appreciative of this is they showed gameplay, because we've already had a cinematic trailer for this game, and it had my curiosity last year. Seeing actual gameplay, the traversal looked really fun, really dynamic, and this is probably up there with one of my favorites from the whole showcase. Slight side note for me is me and my wife are massive Disney fans, and for anyone who knows, Splash Mountain, the famous ride from Disney World that's like from the 70s, just got a complete makeover to look like The Princess and the Frog, which is Tiana, and it's set in the bayou and there's crocodiles and jazz music and everything. This has that vibe through and through. Like you're talking like the absolute South America gorgeousness, like charm, music through and through, and I think they'll have done so much research into that as well. But yeah, protagonist looks really interesting, and yeah, it just looks like my type of game. I think I said during the live stream, third person, bit of action, quirky, charmful, a colourful list of characters, and it looks quite similar to Kena Bridge of Spirits in the way that you'll be kind of clearing the rot out from certain areas during fights, so cleansing the world of something that's happening. And
you go into an area, get sealed off by the rot or whatever it is, and then you have to defeat the enemies to move on. Traversal looks really cool. Almost looks like weird water powers, so she can almost make like a glider with them.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember the Fest trailer, she met some kind of skeleton character playing a guitar on like a pier in the bayou.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like he's some kind of like grandmaster who gives her some kind of weapon to fight these rotting creatures, because she's got some kind of trinket on her back that's like the tip of a spear, but it looks like it would cage something, so maybe some kind of soul stone or whatever, and it looks like she uses that to traverse, to fly, to get around. But there's definitely like magic at play to some degree. But the visuals, it's just in this warm baked sun in a bayou environment. It looks great, and there's a cow on the roof. Don't miss the cow on the roof.
Important things. Do you even have a good game if you don't have a cow on a roof?
No, or a horse. Yeah. Witcher style. Is the cow called Roach?
We'll have to keep moving on. I'm going to say that a lot in the showcase.
Yeah. I mean, what was the date on South of Midnight? Was it just the year?
2025, and it is coming to Game Pass.
So my prediction would be we see a state of play. Not state of play, sorry. Developer Direct. I think this will be in next year's Developer Direct in February.
Yeah.
We'll see a full breakdown of what this game is, what it's going to look like, what the Compulsion worked on. Because Compulsion made We Happy Few, which was a well-received game, but didn't sell too well. And I'm not surprised they've pivoted to a new IP, but yeah, this one in particular, I think this is up there with one of my highlights.
Yeah, I kind of hope at early 2025, because the last few years, the first half of the year has been relatively quiet. In early 2025, yeah, maybe something like a March, April, it might have a bit of space to itself, so where it can really shine without getting drowned out.
Absolutely.
There's a new expansion coming from World of Warcraft, drops 26th of August. No doubt if you're interested in World of Warcraft, you already know about that, so I'm not going to dwell on it.
Isn't it mad that World of Warcraft gets like the side thing because it has to?
Yeah,
of how
well,
much
I'm giving it a side thing because neither of us are World of Warcraft players at the moment. I haven't been for a long time. You even longer.
Mm-hmm.
And if I always think if you're into World of Warcraft, you don't need me telling you there's a trailer
Yeah,
dropped.
absolutely. Yeah, a couple of people in the chat knew what it was before we did. So
yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta. Snake Eater, no dates.
Still no dates. Rumored for this
Nothing
year.
really added, to be honest.
No, they basically showcased the opening to the game from what memory serves, is when Snake's dropping into the jungle and the colonel kind of briefs him on like who you'll be. You're going in with no weapons, which the whole premise of the game compared to Metal Gear 1 and 2 was that you have to use your own camouflage, like use your environment. You have to hunt. He has the mechanic
You're naked Snake.
You are naked Snake. The whole premise of the game was finding food. If you get injured, you literally have like fractured bones and stuff, and you've got to heal yourself, and you are literally on the jungle to survive whilst completing your mission. And it showcased elements of the game, but visually just looks gorgeous. And I think, again, Konami were all, even though they've been out of games for a while, returning with one of the best games they've ever put out in Metal Gear Solid 3. They were never going to miss with this, surely, even without Kojima's involvement. But
yeah,
yeah,
I don't really have much more. I think Metal Gear Delta, we need a date.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that interested in seeing too much more of the game. I just want a date. I don't really care when the date is. So just take your time, do it right, and next time I think Konami show this, give us a date, be ready to go, ready to go.
I'm thinking where they might, because it won't be at any Jeff events because of Konami's relationship with Jeff Keighley via the Kojima proxy. My guess is maybe Gamescom. That seems like somewhere where Konami could show up in August at Gamescom and go, he's a little bit more... Because it's an old game, so everyone knows what happens in it who's played it.
Yeah.
They've showcased what they need to now. I think you're right. It's just a final trailer and it's coming out. Boom. Now.
Does the lack of a date suggest maybe 2026 or later to you?
It could, but the rumour was this year. Still some... I think it showed up on a PlayStation listing somewhere. It was a PlayStation trailer. PlayStation put out an official trailer and it was games coming 2024. And it was part of it. And then they quickly backpedaled on that. So that usually confirms it, but who knows? It doesn't need to be this year. There's so much coming out this year. It doesn't need to be, though.
That's weird. Then why wouldn't this have a date unless Konami have got something in the works?
I mean,
we see this at the Ubisoft Forward later today?
No. But remember, we might also have the Metal Gear Collection Volume 2. Which we know is a real thing because in the Volume 1 coding, it had Volume 2, which we're going to predict is the remainder games, and hopefully some of the PSP/Vita games. Give me Acid, Portable Ops, etc., Peace Walker. But maybe they want to get that in before they release this one. We'll see.
Maybe this is just the start of the ramping up the marketing for maybe a late 2024 thing.
Again, Konami have been out of the game for so long. They might just not really know what they're doing. They might just fumble this launch a little bit. Yeah. So, but again, it was there. Look gorgeous. Can't wait.
Yeah, same. Going to give Sea of Thieves the World of Warcraft treatment. There's a 13th season. It comes July the 25th. If you're into Sea of Thieves, fill your boots with seawater, probably.
Sand.
But again, if you're a Sea of Thieves fan, you don't need me telling you what that's about. Go watch the trailer, get hyped for it yourself. Mm-hmm. So moving on to Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn.
Yeah, this was probably the game in the whole trailer that did nothing for me. Like the rare one that I think I don't know if it just hit us too quick or it was maybe off the back of a couple of really good things back to back to back to back. This felt like the first lull for me where it was like, oh, I'm kind of getting a generic vibe to it. And I also don't really know what's going on. I don't know if this is the first time it's been shown off, but had a cool fox. There's some kind of like demon stuff going on. But then it very quickly got into some gameplay, and I just felt like a little bit lost in what I was watching. I don't know about you.
Yeah, this is the one that it was one of the least memorable things in the showcase. Like, I'm having to watch the trailer right now to remind myself what the game was.
We said it was a bit like God of War-y.
I think maybe we're doing it a bit disservice because of how stacked the showcase was.
Yeah,
this
probably
was a weaker point, but I think there's probably, looking at the trailer, I think there's a probably solid game in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, look, it was almost like God of War / Forspoken is the vibe I got from it.
Yeah,
Which again,
I can see
Forspoken
that.
wasn't a bad game. It just didn't do very well. But yeah, it's from the people who made Ashen, which was again seemed like received well but didn't do very well from what I recall. But yeah, like you said, there's probably a really good serviceable game in there. I think it did just got maybe lost in the mix of banger after banger after banger.
I mean, the advantage of this is it's July the 18th, so it's coming in literally next month, and it's coming to Game Pass. So it's not so too far out where it might just get forgotten about. Sometimes when you see like a game like this where it's like it feels like it comes out in 18 months. By the time it comes out, it's like, oh god,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not out yet. It's like, oh no, it's soon. So
Very
next
soon.
game, Chris, I think we were both very hyped for.
Yes.
Age of Mythology Retold. We already knew about it.
We did, but
We got a release date.
Yeah, this is the first time we've actually seen gameplay of it, if I recall as well. For those who don't know, Age of Mythology, just a kind of spin-off of the Age of Empires series back in our childhood, and it's essentially if the Age of Empires team thought, you know what, we'll do the same thing, but with mythologies, and we'll give everyone their respective gods who can appear in the game and kick absolute ass. So picture Zeus showing up, picture the Titans showing up, picture Anubis warriors crushing humans underneath their tiny feet.
Yeah.
You get that in a beautifully realised RTS game coming to Game Pass. Can't wait for this one. Love going back to Age of Empires this past year or two. Age of Mythology was my jam back in the day. So yeah. What about yourself?
Same. I loved it. I don't think I loved it as much as Age of Empires 2. But Age of Empires 2 was special.
Yeah, that's the OG.
I think this was my second. It's potentially my second favorite strategy game of all time, behind Age of Empires 2, and that's not a bad place to be.
I think this had like the quirkiness, didn't it? So you could get weird.
Yeah, you could.
And I remember distinctly this game we played around our friend's house actually, Richie Lewis. You know he is. He used to have his PC inside his slidey wardrobe. And we used to sit on the end of his bed. And I remember we recreated the Battle of Helm's Deep because it was around the Lord of the Rings 2 Towers coming out, and you could make your own maps. And we dropped about 1,000 units in to kind of recreate the Uruk-hai versus
blew up his PC.
His PC did not run for shit. It was running at like 2 frames a second, but we let that whole battle play out to see how fun it was. And I always remember that because when you're done, you just slid the cupboard door shut. And his PC didn't exist in his room. But yeah, big, massive CRT screen as well. But yeah, 4th of September. Just in time for my birthday. Cannot wait.
Indeed. But something that we don't have a date for, but a lot of people very much looking forward to, is Perfect Dark.
Yes, Al Davis Music. One of our guild heroes will be over the moon. He's been screaming for this for ages. And you know what? I can see why. This game looked beautiful. This showcased so well. I thought we saw a good bit of style, a good bit of character development. There's no doubt plenty of nostalgia sprinkled in there for people who love the games. But yeah, I think we knew it was going to be here, but it took us a little while to figure out what we were looking at because neither of us have played Perfect Dark back in the day. So
yeah, I never played Perfect Dark on the N64 back in the day.
I know of it through fame and nostalgia. I'm sure when they did the big reveal of the protagonist, I didn't know. But as soon as it showed Initiative and Crystal Dynamics, that's what clicked for me, who was working on it. But what were your thoughts? They showed off quite a bit of gameplay, it seemed like. Yeah,
it looks quite stealthy, actually. I think it looks really cool. Like a stealth action, a first person shooter.
Yeah, it was
interesting
almost
traversal, jumping from rooftop to rooftop.
You said it reminds you of...
It could be an absolute banger.
Splinter Cell vibes as well, right?
Yeah.
And
Splinter Cell sells third person rather than first.
Yeah.
But stealth action, like even Assassin's Creed doesn't really do stealth that well anymore. So like having a stealth action game, it feels like it's a genre that's ripe for the taking. Obviously, Metal Gear Solid's been, apart from, we've mentioned Delta, but it's been a while since Metal Gear Solid 5. And Splinter Cell's been even longer, so I think there is a space for this game to showcase what I can do, and yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of has like Mirror's Edge vibes to it with a little bit of Hitman. And then, like, again, the nostalgia of Perfect Dark / GoldenEye from Rare back in the day have been a gorgeous first-person shooter. And no doubt Crystal Dynamics have brought their polish to it because the game looks gorgeous. Like every scene we see, it just looks like the lights popping. And yeah, I've gone from not really knowing anything about it to add it to my hype list. Looks fantastic. Yeah, perfect dark. Again, I'm sure Al's super happy in the chat out there. Can't wait for this one. This is going to be his big one.
Indeed. I think a lot of people are going to be super happy as well with Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. So an expansion to Diablo 4 comes October 2024. Contains a new character class in region and expanded story. It's DLC.
Yeah, we got a really good cinematic trailer for it. To
the
show
trailer
it off.
was weird, quite interesting to had me kind of hooked. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? This is quite weird, but
yeah, no gameplay because I guess Diablo is what Diablo is.
Yeah.
But in terms of the game itself, it did come to GamePass a couple of weeks back. So if you've never played it before, you've got no excuse if you have Game Pass now because it's just there, right?
Yeah, if you're interested in Diablo 4, go play it on Game Pass. It's available elsewhere as well, but we are focused on Xbox for this part of the show for obvious reasons.
I feel like most of our audience have Game Pass at this point.
Yeah.
Like us, there's like almost like it's such good value. Why wouldn't you have it?
Yeah.
Just for,
if you
just
have
for the
it,
crack.
You don't even need an Xbox to make the use of Game Pass.
Exactly,
it's used cloud gaming.
Absolutely.
Fable, Chris. We got another cinematic. We got some interesting stuff coming out with Fable. No release date yet, but we have a 2025 on it.
Yep, Fable showed off another CGI.
Humphrey. We got to know a bit about Humphrey.
We did, yeah, another character. It does look like Fable's going to really lean into the comedy and the character development, but
yeah,
I need to start. The next time they show Fable, I really want to start seeing some solid gameplay for it, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a few bits that may be gameplay interweaved, but it's hard to tell. There's definitely a lot of in-engine stuff going on.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure it'll look gorgeous, but yeah, I feel like after the last trailer and what we know about and how long it's been, because remember, Fable was scrapped, once or twice? We had Legends done in, and then a massive gap, and then now Xbox acquired them, and then now it's started to that, so yeah, I feel like I need to see it.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like, yeah, I'm intrigued. I like the comedy tone. I like the tone of what you've shown me. I want gameplay next. Next thing, give me some solid gameplay. But again, this could be like a developer direct. You know how they did like with Starfield.
Yeah, that could be that.
You know what? On the run up to it, we're going to show you one more trailer, and like maybe this time next year, here's our Xbox showcase, and then there's Fable. We're going to do 20-30 minutes on Fable.
Yeah, Fable.
Talking the devs, behind the scenes stuff, showing you gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure close to the time we'll be sat there going, yeah, we're going to see Fable, we're going to see South of Midnight, like everything we saw last year at launch, and then it's kind of got a recap this year. I feel like a developer direct in the beginning of next year would be like the right cadence to then talk in a deeper vein of these.
All right, we've been on this news story for a while,
and we're not even done yet.
We're not. Is any ones that you want to pick up on? Because there's a few bits where I think we got to the point of the show where it did dip a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, just again, go if you want to know the full detail, go and watch the live stream with us. There's about an hour and a half of us live reacting to it and seeing it in the motion. We got Fragpunk, which looked like a 5v5 hero shooter. That's going to be Xbox exclusive. We got Winterborough, which looked like a cool little indie game with mice. We got Mixtape, which looked like Life is Strange until we got a Life is Strange announcement. We had Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which, again, if you know what Flight Simulator is, you don't need to be briefed on that one. It looks beautiful.
We got a date,
gorgeous.
19th of November.
Oh, cool. So not too long to wait for that one. Elder Scrolls got a 10th year anniversary trailer, which was interesting, showed off. Again, it followed the kind of the musical vibe throughout the whole showcase, which is just really high energy, really fun.
I think ESO and everything that currently exists within ESO is free for all players on a limited period.
Right.
Don't have the full details in front of me, but I'm sure I saw that. And the expansion is going to be called Gold Road, which comes out the 18th of June.
God, which isn't that long away at all. So, yeah look forward to that. Mecha Break. We've seen that before. Just look like Gundams fighting and kicking shit out of each other, which super cool if you're into that kind of thing. Looked great visually. I think if I was going to play something like that, I'd probably lean more towards Armored Core myself, but this seemed a bit more arcade action-y, so maybe you're not looking for that Souls-like fighting with mechs. Got a little bit of an update on Avowed, no date. Again,
2024 we got, but that's it.
you would expect something more, so I think maybe something later this summer to date it, maybe at Gamescom. And then I guess Life is Strange is probably the next big one you and me want to settle on, because this caught us a little bit by surprise.
Yeah, we were watching this and going, is this Life is Strange?
It looks like
That's
Life
when I
is
saw
Strange.
Deck 9, it's like, oh, could this be Life is Strange? There were scenes where, like, with Life is Strange colours, where they use colours to denote emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That happens. And then there's a character, the lead character, looked a lot like Max Caulfield from number 1. I was like, and I convinced myself, no, I can't be.
Yeah.
It bloody well is.
Yeah. In hindsight,
That's
looking at it back,
interesting.
it's like, oh yeah, it can't, because Life is Strange is one of those IP where it's took so many twists and turns. It's hard to really keep up with who's in charge of it, where the story's going. Because yeah, Life is Strange 1 was great. Then we got 2, which was the different characters. We got Before the Storm in between, which was a little one. But then they changed developers, and Deck 9 took over from why am I blanking? Don't Nod, who were the originals. Yeah. And then, if you remember, Square Enix sold the studios, but said they were retaining the rights to Life is Strange, but the developer went. So it's kind of like been this weird back and forth. And then we got True Colors, which kind of didn't have anything to do with the other two, bar I think a cameo from one character.
Yeah, it's set in the same universe, but
yeah,
Life is Strange 2 didn't really have anything to do with 1 either.
No.
It's all set in the same universe, but they're all individual stories.
There's the Captain Super Pants one, but I can't remember what it is. It's like the two young brothers.
That was it's just like a small episode that does link into number 2, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember. It wasn't Super Pants. It was something to do with a young kid and his brother. But yeah, we just got into this trailer and was like, oh shit, a new Max Caulfield adventure. And then it was like, oh, it is Life is Strange. That's awesome.
The moment I called it quite early in the trailer. I was like, is that Max? And it's like, no, it can't be. And then it's when she started hanging up the photos, like, oh shit, it is.
Yeah. But it just say Xbox, so I presume this will come to other platforms, surely.
Yeah. No mention of Game Pass. It comes October the 29th.
Yeah. I think this was just a cool little reveal.
The interesting thing is, what is the canon ending now to Life is Strange 1?
I guess they'll have to. I mean, it's.
I'm not going to drop spoilers there because I do think like people should go play Life is Strange 1 because it's awesome. Yeah. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But the premise of this one is also it's called Double Exposure, and there's alternate realities. So I feel like that could very easily answer the question.
Yep, an interesting way of working around it by having all the endings be canon.
Yeah, just a MCU its ass.
Yeah.
We got WuKong Fallen Feathers, which again was probably one of, again, not to do it a disservice, but I think in amongst all the other blockbusters, it got a little bit lost. It looked a little bit as we expected to look like a Souls-esque game.
Yeah, it looks like a gothic hack and slash.
Yeah, with a bad name, kind of thing. Unfortunately. WuKong Fallen Feathers I don't really quite get what that's aiming for. Indiana Jones, we knew this was probably going to be here. We got an extensive trailer. Which actually it wasn't even the trailer, was it? It was just part of the game.
Yeah, it was just it was like a cinematic from the game mainly,
which looked great.
Followed by a sizzle reel of gameplay.
Yeah, I think what did we say? We saw a Nazi ship stuck in the Himalayas, so typical random thing. Again, very Uncharted. If you remember, Uncharted 1
but Uncharted's based of Indiana Jones.
No, I meant specifically Uncharted had the submarine in the jungle, and then this has a Nazi ship in the Himalayas. It's like, okay, how did it get there? How crazy is this? But in terms of, we saw more gameplay. We saw some more back and forth. Terrific voice acting, I think, once again, from Troy Baker. And then just, Indiana Jones hype. I don't really need to see more of this game. I was already in. Of course, the
only thing I need is a date.
Yeah, no date.
2024, though.
Which, again, looking at what we've got for 2024 now from this showcase, Avowed and Indiana Jones, who do you think's going first? If you were to put money on it.
I'd go Avowed. We've known about Avowed for longer.
When are you feeling for Avowed, then? Bear in mind, it's the middle of June already.
Right. What else do we have 2024? I think one's September, one's maybe November, December.
Yeah, I think the rumor for Indiana Jones has been December, so I could see this being in line with like a Christmas release.
Yeah. Any earlier than September, I would expect them to have a date on it by now.
You would,
because
wouldn't
even September's still quite soon. Really, it's only 3 months away.
Absolutely. Which a lot of games coming out in September got dated. We had a lot of September dates in this showcase.
Yeah. So, I think Avowed is oddly. I think Avowed is the smaller. Is the more I see of Avowed, the more I think of it. It's not the top tier of Xbox titles like Indiana Jones is. I think it's the next rung down, which are very solid games, like State of Decay.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's not Halo, it's not Gears, it's a State of Decay game, which is going to be very, very good.
So then what else have we got in between? Is State of Decay this year?
State of Decay was no date.
No date. That's the problem, isn't it? Because we've seen so many games condensed into an hour and a bit. I can't think what's coming and what's going now. But yeah, Indiana Jones for me, can't wait. It's my big highlight for the back end of the year amongst everything else we just saw as well. So looking forward to it.
Anything else? We got AtomFall.
Yeah, AtomFall was one that kind of caught us a bit off guard. It's made by Rebellion, so I think we were expecting maybe a Zombie Army 5 or a Sniper Elite or maybe even a Strange Brigade 2 at a push, because we like Strange Brigade. But instead, it looks like we got a new game set in some kind of warped alternate history of Great Britain with like mech suits and everything. But it looked like typical Rebellion fun, but I think it looked good. I think it showcased really, really well. It had like a quirky bit of fun and humour to it. With, I guess, Rebellion's what you would expect from a Rebellion game. Like, again, not AAA, I wouldn't say. There's definitely like a budget limitation, but it looked fun.
I think it's the closest to AAA I've seen Rebellion get.
Yeah. You would imagine they've maybe moved on to a new engine from last gen now.
Yeah. To be honest, I think I've seen AAA games that look worse than this. So I think
we're probably doing a disservice there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it looks solid.
We kind of don't really know what it was about though. Still, it had like magical elements. It had mech suits. It had zombies. It's like I don't know what's going on here.
I mean, reading from Polygon, I've only got this like 2 sentences. AtomFall is a single-player survival game set after a nuclear disaster in Great Britain. It's coming to Windows PC, Xbox Series X in 2025. I believe it is coming to Series S as well.
AtomFall. I like it.
The trailer actually doesn't say Series X or S. It just says Xbox. It says Game Pass, Xbox, and PC.
Ooh, there might be ironing out some kinks there.
Maybe.
We got Assassin's Creed Shadows. Don't even mention that. There's a Ubisoft Forward tonight. So if you want to know more about Assassin's Creed Shadows, go check out that.
Surprise inclusion in this showcase?
Yeah, I think with like Summer Game Fest is Ubisoft just like to throw their stuff around so to get people interested.
We don't know what you're going to watch, so we'll put it everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. We got that. We knew it was coming. We got a date for that, right? September?
We did. September the 5th, 2024.
So the September 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I'm sure, have big game announcements. We saw more gameplay. It looked as good as what I expect a Stalker to look like. Super fun. Glad to see it coming out again. All the wonderful devs who've worked hard through literal warfare to relocate and get this game out after a long delay. So, yeah, I think this game deserves support regardless. But
100%.
Yeah, then we got a little hardware tease, Richie.
We did. We're getting a new Series X and some new colours.
And S.
S, yeah.
Well, not a new model, but a new colour palette.
Yeah.
What are you thinking then? Our All Access is up in October.
So there's a 2 terabyte SSD Series X coming out, an all digital Xbox Series X with 1 terabyte SSD and a 1 terabyte SSD Series X, reading from Polygon. And there's 2 new colours. The Series X gets a white.
Robot white.
And this robot white, and we get, what was the black called?
Galaxy Black.
Galaxy Black. So it's black with like green speckles.
It looks cool. It does look cool.
It does look cool.
It looks slick. And I think you and me both have a decision to make come October now. Begrudgingly. No, I mean, not begrudgingly. We like it. And then, we rounded out the show, Richie, with what we expected. and what I'm super excited about, which was
Not Gears 6.
not Gears 6.
It was
That's
Gears
its
of War
official
E-Day.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw a young Marcus Phoenix fighting, smashing up the house as he does. We got a little bit of Mad World sprinkled in, musical tones, and we read the blog after the showcase, and it basically takes place 15 years before the original, or 10 years, 15 years, can't recall, before the original Gears. And it says, young Marcus Phoenix, essentially origin story of how the plague broke out, or the locust broke out, on E-Day, which was Emergence Day, right? If I recall, we've played through Gears of War 1 now, so forgive our naivety when it comes to the lore. But I think for me, going back and kind of doing an origin story, as someone who's just getting into that Xbox ecosystem and has access to all the games, it encourages me to play through more. So then when this launches day one, I'm like prepped and ready for it. We didn't get a Marcus Phoenix collection. There's still time, I think, for that. Still room, because this game probably isn't out anytime soon. But look great. Showcase, like trailer game. I think the hype for the end of the show, this was their one more thing. And I think
they actually did a one more thing.
Those were the actual words, yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Bond actually said the word one more thing. I think this is exactly what this trailer needed to be.
Yeah.
This is confirmation that they're working on another Gears game. That's all. I think at this point, that's all we needed. Yes, we're working on another Gears game. It's a prequel. He's a cinematic. We'll talk to you about it later.
Yeah.
No release dates, nothing, but it's the first announcement of the game, so yeah, that's all it needs.
You know what? I'm thinking I didn't recognize Marcus Phoenix at first in the trailer. Not without his bandana, but just his hair's so good. I was like, I didn't think he had that much hair. But we're going to see.
He's an older man by the time we played him.
Well, yeah,
lost
exactly.
a lot. Stress.
Weathered through war. But this is going to look... Yeah, it's going to be great. They went back to Gears of War now. They dropped just Gears, because like Richie said, it's not 6. So yeah, Gears of War E-Day. No dates, no time frame, but I'm excited for it.
Same. That was a lot, Chris. So should we go to the next?
Was there another showcase?
There was another showcase, Summer Games Fest. We're not going to cover this the same way we've just covered the Xbox One, because quite frankly, I think we were both in agreement that this was fine. Yeah,
I enjoyed the Summer Showcase, but Jeff did come out ahead of time and say, like, look, it's a quiet year for games. Even himself, he scored an 8 out of 10 himself. So with his own personal bias, you could probably take a scoring 1 or 2 points off that.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff there, but compared to the Xbox One, it's hard to get as excited.
Side by side, absolutely.
So we'll just pick a handful of titles, the things that we're most interested in, and then we'll take it from there. I'm guessing we're both very interested in the first title that was announced, Lego Horizon Adventures.
We certainly are, yeah. Interestingly enough, do you know all the rumours about a Horizon remaster that were going around? And everyone was like, it's too early for a Horizon remaster. I think this might be that. When they were saying like they're going to remake Horizon 1 and retell Aloy's story, that's what this game's doing. It's essentially Horizon in Lego form, but not like one for one, with like a wacky, zany Lego twist on it. It looks gorgeous. I think it looks great. And I think, Richie, you've just started getting into Lego games with your girlfriend.
I have.
This must be right up both your streets, because you've probably both got the platinum in Horizon, if I'm right.
I can't say for certain, but I think we've got the platinum in. Both of us have got the platinum in both games.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this one? I thought it's different for PlayStation. I think we praised it during the showcase for doing something family friendly, and I think with Astrobot and now this, I think it could be great fun.
It's a nice addition to the catalogue, and my only slight worry is a PlayStation trying too hard with Horizon to turn it into an IP. Because there's talk of an MMO, there's probably a Horizon 3 in the works at some point. There was the VR game, there's a TV show. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of Horizon they've got working on.
I think we said again during the live stream, is because Sony doesn't have many IP that necessarily lend itself to not an M rating. So you can't do The Last of Us, because it's like murder and zombies and whatever. You can't really do a kind of thing, a God of War, because it's just too violent and stuff. And I think Horizon, if they can get away from maybe Aloy being in everything and just making it about the world and the robot dinosaurs, I think that can totally exist. Because let's face it, a giant MMO thing is pretty much just Monster Hunter.
Kind of, yeah.
And then the story one is there for those who love the single player element. The Lego one's there for the family. The VR is there. Let's face it, you're not going to get a sequel. So the VR one is there for VR enthusiasts. And the TV show is there because everything's going into a TV show now. But Lego Horizon Adventures, I think it's nice to see Lego get away from just movie tie-ins, because they've been doing that for a long, long time now. So see them branching out into games could open the door to a lot of cool IP getting turned into Lego.
Yeah, telling the original Horizon. It looks like there's also like base build mechanics in this as well.
Yeah, you can have your Ferris wheels and your hot dog stalls randomly because it's Lego.
And almost telling the story of the first game in Lego form could be actually really interesting with a few Lego tweaks to it.
Mm-hmm. And
but I think I'll really enjoy playing this, to be honest.
I think I will as well.
Yeah.
With my wife probably in tandem. And the only odd thing to come from this, coming to Nintendo Switch as well.
Yes, that was something I was going to bring up.
It's like, what?
A PlayStation-owned IP is coming to another console.
You can play as the PlayStation exclusive protagonist Aloy on a Nintendo Switch in a brand new game adventure, which is like, what world are we in now, Richard? We've got Xbox games coming to PlayStation. We've got PlayStation games going to Switch. Will we see Pokemon on PS5?
Is this Sony experimenting a bit, do you think?
I think with the success of the day-and-date PC launches like Helldivers and then soon to be, I'm blanking on it. What's the shooter that's just about to come out?
Concord.
Concord, that's coming to PC as well, day one. I think they're learning very quickly that, you know what, the more places you can play, the better. And a Lego game on Switch is easy money, right?
And I think they'll probably look at it and go, and we should say this is Nintendo Switch, nothing about Switch 2 or anything like that. I think they're looking at this and go, maybe Nintendo aren't actually in direct competition with us anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily, well, they are from one point of view, they are, because we could all argue all entertainment properties are in competition with all entertainment properties.
Yeah.
But as a like for like, a lot of people have PlayStations and Switches.
Most people have two now. I think if you're an adult gamer, chances are you have two.
Yeah.
Two of the three, at least. And unfortunately, Xbox is in third place for a long time.
And I've always said Nintendo have basically carved out their own niche and do their own thing. And while the rest of the gaming industry is fighting off over there.
Pretty much.
So, so this could be Sony experimenting. Go, you know what? It's Lego, so it is a third-party game. It makes sense to put it on Switch. Let's see how it goes. And maybe there's future scope for doing more stuff like that.
I mean, during the live stream, I straight away, I think, said off the back of this, the Astrobot game would sell gangbusters on Switch. If you put that on Switch for 60 quid, I mean, there's that too, a reduced version of it, but Astrobot on Switch, with the Mario fans who love 3D platformers as much as they do, they would gobble that up easily.
There would. Astrobot would be awesome on the Switch, but there's two things for me that, one, I don't think the Switch could run it, and two, Astrobot was so, like, Astrobot's Playroom was so tied into the DualSense. I don't think you can replicate that on any other platform.
No, but again, everyone
I don't
on the
think
Switch
they'll go away from that with this Astrobot.
I don't think. I'm just thinking bigger picture. What can we see long term? I think that would be one of the ideal candidates for it. But yeah, I can appreciate the reasons why not to as well. But it's interesting to see all these people dipping toes in different things. Like Xbox are trying different shit. Nintendo are, and then now PlayStation are open to it as well. So it's an interesting world we live in for games. Yeah.
Where do you want to go next? Because there's a lot of games. And we don't have that much time left in the show, to be honest.
No, we don't. We can run a little bit over. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. I think we knew about it. It's a thing. It's coming. It's Harry Potter Quidditch. I don't know what more you want me to say. If you played the PS2 game back in the day, or GameCube game, sorry, it's more of that, but with better graphics.
But interestingly, we still haven't got any gameplay on it.
No, we just saw like a cinematic. Nothing.
I'm skeptical because it's a free-to-play game. We have a date, it's 3rd of September, but I'm always going to be skeptical with any free-to-play games, like, because no game is free. It's going to be monetized somehow. So how is it going to be monetized?
Yeah,
free-to-play doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but I think you need to understand how it's going to be monetized to understand what you're getting yourself in for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anything else you want to talk about? 'Cause, we saw a bit about Metaphor ReFantasio, which is kind of a spin. It's not a spin-off to Persona. It's its own thing, for as far as I understand. But it's made by Atlas. It looks very much like a Persona game. It's a turn-based fantasy strategy game. Comes out October the 11th on PlayStation 4, 5, Windows PC, and Xbox Series.
Yeah,
looks cool.
That. Yeah, I think if you're a Persona fan, I think this is right up your alley with that one. But this was kind of the vibe for Summer Game Fest, unfortunately. It was and Jeff did say it's like an update on a lot of things we've already seen. We did see Monster Hunter Wilds at the PlayStation State of Play, so then that being shown off here was just more Monster Hunter, which, again, if you're into that, it's fantastic. Like Metaphor, I feel like we saw that at Game Awards, so there was nothing really new there. The biggest one for me was the Alan Wake stuff, was kind of the only in-the-moment announcement that we got confirmed, which was the Alan Wake 2 expansion DLC, Night Springs, has launched. It was a stealth release. It came out within like 24 hours of the show ending. I've already played episode 1 of 3, so they're not that long, it seems like. I haven't played 2 and 3 yet, but for those who don't know, Night Springs is like, it's the Twilight Zone, made in like Alan Wake's world. You'll know it from the first game, Richie. It's the little TVs you see around. It always basically recounts like an episode of Night Springs.
Yeah.
This is split into episodes where you play as the girl from the diner. You're going to play as I'm going to call him Iceman because that's who he is from X-Men. But he's not in the game. I can't remember. He's the guy from Quantum Break, but he's not Quantum Break because Remedy don't have the rights to it yet from Xbox. But it kind of is him. It's the same actor, you know. I feel like as soon as Xbox sell Remedy the rights back, we'll get a remake of Quantum Break on probably multi-platforms, and then we'll also get Iceman officially made canon in this Control Alan Wake Remedy universe. And then episode 3, you play as Jesse from Control. So there's a proper true crossover there. As I said, I've only played episode 1. It's not Alan Wake. It's quirky humor. It's like Far Cry DLC, where because it's an episode of Night Springs, they can be weird as shit with it, as they are in Alan Wake. But yeah, you play as the diner girl. You get a shotgun. You go out and hunt down some creatures in the forest. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I finished it in about maybe in less than an hour. So they're not that long, but it was fun.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning, neither of us, it's not really our thing, team-based shooters, but it's worth mentioning that Valorant is coming to PS5 and Xbox. It's already known, but we do have more details. There's a limited beta kicking off on the 14th of June, and the full launch should be later this year.
Yeah, so many games, games.
No mention at this point that I've seen of like crossplay or cross-progression, but that information may be out there if you're interested. I just don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, you would imagine it's in the works at some point. Yeah. I think the other big one, Civilization VII.
Yeah, I think it's a big reveal, but it's more Civ. This is one where I wish Rob was here for.
Yeah, but I did think that.
Without seeing gameplay, it's Civ 7.
Yeah.
It's coming to PC and consoles in 2025. If you're a big Civ fan, it's probably great news.
How long has it been since the last one?
I'm not sure.
It's been a minute though, right? Like it's been a minute because I've never played Civilization. I feel like I've dabbled in games similar to it, and of course we had Humankind kind of come out and attempt to fill that gap a couple of years ago, and I know it did okay, but I feel like Civilization, it's almost like because it was the first one to success. If anything's not quite close to Civilization, it almost just gets like a nod of approval, but that's about it. Whereas now this is a full-on next entry in the Civ series. Yeah, I think we'll have to get Rob's take on it at some point on the show. But
it's worth mentioning that Civ tends to get a lot of support throughout the years, because Civ 6 was initially released in October 2016.
Okay, so it has been quite a while then.
And if you're a PC gamer and you fancy playing a bit of Civ, before the 21st of June, I recommend getting yourself over to Steam because the base game is at a 95% off sale. It's currently £2.49.
Oh, nice.
Or you can get the Platinum Edition for £13.31, which is, I believe, all of the DLC.
Cheap as chips.
The Anthology actually, I think, comes with all the older Civ games as well. It's only £20.82. So if you fancy playing some Civ, get over to Steam now while there's absolute bargains to be had.
Yeah, it's great.
Well,
Speaking of bargains, we got a showcase for horror from Blumhouse Games. I think this confuses a little bit during the showcase because they showed off like 5 games in a sizzle reel, but they didn't really set the tone for it was going to be a sizzle reel. So you and me got caught out a little bit thinking like, this one game looks quite stylized, and then all of a sudden it was like a 16-bit platformer. Yeah. And it was like, what the hell? And then we're like, oh, wait, this is a different game. But what I think is great is like Blumhouse Games is like traditional like movie producer, sorry. So like the likes of Megan and Five Nights at Freddy's movies, which have done really, really well in their respective fields. They've then pivoted towards game publishing and said they want to create a safe space for indie developers of all sorts of horror to get together and basically help support them into publishing games. So the sizzle reel showed off everything from like pixel art to PlayStation 2 PlayStation 1 Resident Evil style emulation to first person horror. And again, horror comes in many, many forms. So the sizzle reel actually showed off quite a lot of cool looking stuff. But I think just in the moment, we just got a little bit taken aback by why it looks like 5 different games in one, and that's because it was 5 different games in one.
Yeah, absolutely. A few small things, well, not necessarily small things, but we're going to pass through them very quickly. Dragon Ball Spark and Zero got a release date, October the 11th.
Yeah, Dragon Ball fans hyped for that.
Sonic X Shadows Generations, which is a kind of an anthology between Sonic Generations and adding some more classic Shadow content in there.
Should I go
got a release date of October 25th?
Should I play that at all? Because I had this moment after all these announcements, right, where I thought, you know what, I'm a huge Sonic fan. I love the new movies, I love the old games, but I've never really played a game in between. I was like, Frontiers must be on sale now. But then I was like, oh well, if Generations is coming out, and I'm like, I don't really know where to jump back into Sonic. As like a lapsed fan of the games. I love Sonic Mania, but that was obviously just old school.
Yeah,
remade.
I would look at I don't know what platform Sonic Generations was on. I actually played it on PC.
Like Dreamcast.
If you can get it, I want to say PS3.
You think?
If you can get it cheap on maybe Xbox or PlayStation, it bounces between classic and modern the time, modern Sonic in terms of its gameplay. That's why you have the little Sonic and the bigger Sonic. Like the little Sonic does the classic stuff, but that's worked into the narrative of the game.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer in like Curry's or something back in the day.
So the first level you do on Sonic Generations is actually Green Hill Zone.
I mean, isn't it in every Sonic game?
No, but it's actually it's the full 2D side scroller Green Hill Zone, but as a modern take at the time. I think it's worth checking out if you can get it cheap. But I couldn't tell you what platform you'd be able to get it on now.
PS3 360. I mean, if I was going to pick it up, I'd just get the X Generations one and play Shadow. Why not? Because we had the Colours remake, right? Like 2 years ago.
I don't know. I'm not fully up on that.
Either way, like I feel like I've had an urge to play a Sonic game again, but I don't know where to go. But it was nice to see. No trailer for Sonic 3 the movie, unfortunately.
We've got to go fast.
We do.
Into Black Myth Wukong. Finally got released it.
It did, yeah. So again, this year. I feel like it's a game that's been a long time coming, and then now it's coming. It's jam-packed into the back end of the year when everything else is coming out. What was it, August the 20th?
August 20th. However, I only have that date for PC.
Wait. We have had news this week. It's coming to PC and PS5. Xbox is going to be later, which has pissed off a lot of people, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I remember actually when we were watching the showcase, I suspect is this Series S problems. Because there's always been rumours that Series S, some devs aren't happy with it holding games back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
If the Series S, because Microsoft require dual launch for Series S and X, if they don't have the Series S ready to standard, but they have PS5 and PC ready to go, if you're an independent developer, are you going to hold back releasing your game to deal with Microsoft? Or are you just going to go, you know what, we'll get this out and then we'll focus on that later?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the moment we thought, have they got a PlayStation 5 exclusivity deal, which, because this is games made in China, they have closer relationships with Japan as well. So, and the way that it's published by Epic, I believe, and Sony have shares in Epic. So there's a couple, I think, maybe politics going on behind the scenes. And I think with PlayStation not really having a first party game out this time of the year in August, it's probably just clever dealings as well to say, like, right, well, we'll double down on this. You know, the kind of, what came out last year that didn't come out on Xbox, and everyone, it was Baldur's Gate. And everyone flipped out going, why isn't it on Xbox for the S reasons? And it was great that it finally came, but they missed that initial beat. And I think WuKong's been so long in the coming. But for me personally, I think we're still stuck on, is it a Souls game, is it not a Souls game? But now with the August date, it lands the week before Star Wars Outlaws. So you've lost me, unfortunately. Unless it like gets 10 out of 10, so I'm like, oh shit, I need to play this. But also, as a side note for WuKong, the physical release will not come with an actual disc. It will come with a digital code inside. So
it's not a physical release.
It's not a physical release, but they've explained, again, due to the nature of the China getting things distributed and being an indie studio, they don't quite have the stuff together to get it done yet. But they are going to look into resolving it. But
you know, somewhere like limited run games might solve that problem down the line.
The limited run game's getting a lot of work. We should rewind a little bit back to the Alan Wake 2 DLC drop. They also announced a physical release. So I don't own Alan Wake physically, which is annoying me. But now they're announcing a deluxe and a collector's edition for Alan Wake 2 because it's so... It's a weird one. Announcing physical releases as like a good thing after your launch, it's not the world I want to live in, but it's unfortunately a state of digital media.
I think one day, like, physical media is gone. Like,
it's collectors. It's like vinyls.
Yeah. That's why I think you might get... Well, I think we're already there, to be honest. If you think about, like, music, you can technically still buy vinyls and CDs and stuff, for even new music.
Mm-hmm.
But no one does. It's only collectors who do.
They're popular. They feel like birthday gifts and stuff for your dad for Father's Day and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anything else?
No, I don't think there's anything major. There's other stuff. I think Cuff Books looked interesting because it was one person
from the
studio.
Choo Choo Charles guy. Choo Choo.
Yeah, Choo Choo Charles. Where you play as some Jailians. It's like a prison break kind of game.
Jailians, yeah. What trailer in the Xbox showcase did we watch where someone went choo choo really loud and we both laughed at it? Choo-choo.
God,
They did it right in the middle of a trailer. There was like a random character went choo choo. It was hilariously timed.
Was that in the Xbox one or was that in Summer Games Fest? It might have been this.
Yeah, it was the showcase we just watched about an hour ago. Someone halfway through it just randomly went choo choo. We both thought it was hilarious. I can't even think of what game it was now. But in summary, Summer Game Fest. There was a couple of more indie games showing off. One to stop. Sorry if we can't get them. If you thought it looked epic, Hyper like Braid. There was a couple of free to play games which padded out the back end. Power Rangers, etc. It really kind of fell flat in the last third for me. Summer Game Fest this year, and Jeff again for some reason doesn't have a big ender. Game Awards is more understandable, but I think for Summer Game Fest, we saw how much of a pop we just got with Gears. It's such a shame he couldn't get one more thing, like maybe Death Stranding from Kojima, like another trailer, just to say, like, before we go...
2, Night Springs could have been it. Lego Horizons could have been it. They're not the absolute slam dunk of titles, but
something.
There's standout titles in there.
Yeah, just waving on stage and going, see you next year, is like, bye then. It's kind of like, okay, Jeff, thanks for that.
I know he listens to criticisms and stuff. That's one where it's like, you kind of needed one more thing to close your showcase out, and he never seems to do it.
I think his hands were a little bit tied with the content this year, I think, unfortunately. But, should we pivot to some quick stories, Richie?
Yep. First quick story, PSVR 2 is getting PC support with an adapter, opening the hardware up to SteamVR, the SteamVR library, including Half-Life Alyx and Fallout VR.
Yeah, which is huge for the PSVR 2 owners currently. There's also a discount on the VR headset at the moment. Downside to it, this for me is pretty much confirmation that PlayStation are not willing to support this first party exclusively, and I think it'll get a boost for it. I think it's great for the hardware. There are limitations. All of the specific VR2 features are not necessarily compatible, which is a shame. All those like amazing bells and whistles don't work. But
however, mod support from Steam.
Yeah, the PC guys will crack it like a nut within a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, and to be fair, now this is happening, you might see developers start implementing some of the features in, as optional features into games when they're developing. So we'll see where that path leads. Octopath 1 and 2 have come straight on the Game Pass. Seemingly out of nowhere. Always
again,
good news, more games.
Talking about stealth releases, right? This was Tuesday or Wednesday this week? We just casually mind our own business, getting prepped for a double showcase this past weekend, and then Square Enix, after their earnings call the other week where they said we're going to diverge and we're going to go multi-platform for some of our titles to get a bit more money, and everyone was talking about, Final Fantasy will probably go like Xbox and maybe Switch and stuff like that, and then they just drop Octopath 1 and 2, just it's on everything, and then not only that, Xbox like, well, you know what, we'll have them for Game Pass as well. So yeah, two amazing titles straight into Game Pass this week, now available right now. Yeah,
I think it's weird. I think Octopath 2 might have already been on PlayStation. Octopath Traveler 1 wasn't.
Yeah, there was weird choices there, yeah.
Octopath 1, I think, was on... I think may have used to be on Game Pass. This weird Square shit going on there.
Mm-hmm.
I see these as Switch games, personally.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have them on other platforms. They are worth playing if you're into your traditional JRPGs.
So, as a side note, Richie, now they're included... As you know, I absolutely fell in love with Sea of Stars and got the Platinum earlier this year. Is Octopath 1 and 2 something that I should now be maybe more aware of, being a big Sea of Stars fan? I'm getting similar vibes.
It's a bigger game. They're both huge.
Well, eight times bigger, Octo.
Yeah, you're looking these at 80-hour games, not like Sea of Stars, which is like 20.
Okay.
It's worth giving them a go. It wouldn't be top of my list of games to recommend to you, but yeah, I'd give them a go. They are quite traditional in terms of the presentation of like as a JRPG, though.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the point of them games.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I love both of them. I never actually finished Octopath 2. I kind of fizzled out a bit, and I think Zelda came along.
Yeah, I was going to say I think something else came and knocked it off.
Yeah. Few quick titles. Kena Bridge of Spirits has finally come to Xbox on August the 15th. We already knew that was happening.
Yes, not Game Pass, unfortunately. It comes with a few more features, but I'm a big advocate for this game. So if you've not played Kena Bridge of Spirits, it's indie title. Is it Ember Labs, I want to say? It's a must play if you're into look for some third-person, cute, whimsical, almost like Pixar fun. This is one to check out. August 15th. Surprised it's not gone into Game Pass. It really struck me as a title that they could have been like an easy win for a game. It was up for the Game of the Year awards, I believe, or Indie Game of the Year, possibly.
I think it was.
I'm sure it won a bunch of things. But yeah, for an indie team, absolutely smashed out of the park. I love that. And my hardest platinum to date that I had to get. So it's up there.
Yeah. There is rumours, apparently, a Halo maybe come to PlayStation. I don't want to spend too much time on this because they are only rumors.
Yeah, and we didn't see any Halo. We didn't see any Halo news at the showcase. Yeah. Like not even updates for Infinite, which probably could have fit in there somewhere. I do feel like Xbox should always mention, like, you know, in the Sea of Thieves updates. Very surprised they didn't say, and Halo Infinite, like it's still a thing.
My assumption is they have nothing to show, which is unfortunately good news.
Yeah. So maybe a reset, and yeah, the rumor is they're going back to remake Combat Evolved again, but we already kind of had that as part of the Master Chief Collection. But then, I guess as time goes on, you can make it look even better, right? Maybe a reset point. I don't know, but you know what? I think we're both in the same thing. If it came to PlayStation, like Gears of War, I'd buy it.
I wouldn't buy it because I have it on Game Pass, but that's the only thing that would stop me probably of being interested in buying it. Because I don't see much point in buying a game I already have access to.
So many would, though. Millions.
But if you are a PlayStation gamer, I've never played. I haven't played the campaign of Halo Infinite. We'll get there eventually. We've played Halo 1 and 2.
Eventually. We'll get there eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Concord, we got a price point, £35, similar to Helldivers.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I think we were worried with Concord if it was going to come out with a full price tag, it would bomb. I think £35, $40 is like a safe bet to, it's not a major investment, but if it looks good enough and it gets you out the door, and I think with the PC release, I think it's a smart business model. I think free-to-play maybe undervalues the product a little bit, which I think a lot of developers maybe make the mistake of I tell you what, we'll go free-to-play, and then millions will play it because it's free. And then what everyone
And
does
then
is
no
looks
one
at it and goes, oh, it looks free. It's probably just another generic game. I'm not going to bother. Whereas I think if you do attach... There is something to be said about putting a price tag on it. Look at Astrobot. It got confirmed this week, Richie, it's going to be £60. So not quite the full 70, but I think 60 says something to me as a consumer that I'm expecting a full game. Like a full quality game. If it's 20, you think, oh, it's starting to get to like indie zone, like 15 to 20. So I think there is some like clever social science behind the pricing of things. And when Sony hit the nail so much on the head with Helldivers, you might as well just have a second crack at the whip and just replicate it, right?
They've stumbled into, maybe our games as a service stuff. We put a 35 quid price tag on them. People will just, you know what, it's 35 quid. I'm interested in the game. It's not going to break the bank. I'll give it a go. And if they fall off, they fall off, and you've got the money. Or you get them in, and then you start doing the microtransaction stuff.
Well,
and it doesn't have to be egregious. Look at Helldivers being praised for its microtransactions.
Yeah, they can learn a lot from that. But I'm the prime candidate. Bought Helldivers, enjoyed it so much in the first couple of hours. I bought the War Bond within like 3 hours because I was having so much fun, and because I hadn't paid £70, there was a lot of wiggle room in my budget to go, you know what? Yeah, you devs, you've deserved it. And I think Concord, it looks like it's got the polish. And with the PC counterpart, I think a lot of Steam players will eat up a £35 price tag for a quality first-person shooter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Concord potentially could be a winner. Not for us, personally, but I think it could do well with the PC market.
And I think Overwatch 2 flopped a bit. So I think the arena shooter, there's
a gap.
Space to take the crown.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the last thing we're going to end on, Last of Us 2, well, The Last of Us TV show, Season 2, rumoured to be getting split out across a couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's because, Richie, the world out there, the audience, shouted, we don't want ClickerCast to end after just 2-3 seasons. We want it to continue forever. So Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann clearly got together and went, guys, GamerGuild TV fans, we've got you. Don't worry, we'll spread the season out. Jokes aside, I think they don't want to kill off Pedro Pascal too early.
Yeah. I was going to allude to it without actually saying them words. I think that's a nice end point of the season. Maybe not the last episode, maybe the penultimate episode of season 2.
I don't think in season 2 he's going. I think he's too big of a name attached to it. I think they'll keep him around for
but you
another one.
Because you can flashback stuff.
You can, yeah, true. But it's TV, so you have to do that a little bit differently. But we got confirmation it's also going to be a slightly shorter season with only, I think, 7 episodes of confirmed instead of 9, which means ClickerCast will be shorter. But you know what? I'm sure the quality's there. We've got a lot of casting news. I'm excited for it.
I do think there's enough content because they'll have to tell the story differently.
Oh, yeah.
In the TV than they did, because in Last of Us 2, you pretty much play through half the story, change characters and play through the same half the story again from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really do that with a TV show because you're going to be bouncing between them. Yeah. So you're going to see, I think there's enough content there easily to take you up to pretty much the point where Ellie's setting out. I think Ellie's setting out is the end of the next season 2.
Yeah, I think there is...
It's a nice end point.
There's absolutely a lot. And I think we've theorised before is that Season 2 could kickstart off and you could pretty much spend the whole time with Abby, like for the first episode or 2, leading up to the events of the end of Season 1. And that culminate together. And then we go, oh, shit, this is what happened. And then the rest of the season opens up into everyone else's story arc.
Because you want to get people to like Abby. You need to get people to like Abby.
You do.
Before you pull the rug out from under them.
Yeah. Whereas in the game, it did it very differently. But I think in a TV show with an audience instead of a player, I think they could do some clever things. But of course, you'll have to tune in for the ClickerCast next year.
You kind of have to get people to like Abby, to pull the rug out from under them, then to spend the next few seasons getting people to empathise with Abby more and start looking at what Ellie's turning into, but them exploration of characters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's so long away. And ClickerCast will return.
It will.
Just like this show.
It will. Very quickly, Chris. This day in gaming.
Oh,
to
yes.
round things.
Yes.
Anything jumping out at you?
Oh, this day in gaming. Let's have a look. Wacky Races on the Game Boy Color. Wow. There's a shout out. Prototype, originally from Activision, came out 15 years ago in 2009 on PS3 and Xbox. That is... Xbox is kind of like superhero game now. I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Prototype remake or reboot imminently in the next couple of years. Because again, superhero games sell, and they don't have a Spider-Man Xbox, so I think there's room for fun. Indiana Jones and the Staff of the Kings, PS2, PSP. I bought it. I own it. I actually got it for the channel. You might see me play it in the lead up to the Great Circle later this year, so stay tuned. But
nothing much from me, but I think it's worth mentioning FWM Jim on the Sega Genesis.
Good old FWM
9th of June 1994.
30 years. Whew, don't you feel old? Don't we make you feel old in this podcast, folks?
Yep. Sorry about that, guys.
But, yeah.
But that, I think, is all we have time for this week. It's been a bumper show with 2 massive showcases, so we've had to blast through some of the news. We did cover in the live streams both the showcases, Summer Games Fest opening night and Xbox Direct, so you can go watch them in the full as we live react to them. These are Ubisoft coming tonight. We're not covering it live, but no doubt we'll be talking about it in a Discord. The link's in the description below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell to be kept in the loop of all of our content here. With that, my name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Good game, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.